the blitz, throw me the bag, I'm cashing in 6-0's Devontae Smith. Who the better brother? I plead the fifth. It's the Bird Gang. We going to war. AJ put y'all to shame. 100 yards a game. This year I was already got my name to grave. Step back, you ain't trying to catch my fade. Fly, Eagles fly.
Fly, Eagles fly, the birds and the guys on the way to victory. This is the start of the ride, one finger heavy. Gotta make it tough for all five. From the city where they pop a wheelie in front of your eyes. It's game time, get on the line. Sirianni drawing the plays, Hurts throwing them dimes. Oh my, y'all thought y'all had a chance. You better stack up your teams if you're trying to win against mine.
Whoop. Welcome back, subscribers of the Bird Gang Brothers podcast, episode 5. I am Nathan Parker, and this is my brother,
Tyler Parker. Welcome back.
Per usual, we want to give a shout out to the creators of that music intro video, The Blanks. I had the opportunity to attend their Friday the 13th backyard concert, and they are legit. Their music is original. They have started from the bottom, and it was really cool to see one of the songs that they had created. They had transitioned from English to Portuguese. Now, a little background story for our listeners. They came over from Brazil. Their brother and I have been best friends since we were 8 years old. And so it's been really cool to see their talents come to light and for them to create a song that combined English and Portuguese. It kind of gave me the chills. Not going to lie, I didn't understand it, but it was really cool to hear. And then this is really dope, but they had Fat Joe. And for those of you who know Fat Joe or have listened to some of his music, he created their beat and gave them a shout out to begin one of their songs. So I highly recommend going to check them out. Give them a follow on all social media platforms, again, at THEBLNX, The Blanks. And Tyler, you got some breaking news for us.
The Philadelphia Eagles have signed all-time receptions leader in 2020 for the Atlanta Falcons, 7-time Pro Bowler, Julio Jones is wide receiver number 3. Man, pretty good news to start off another week. Signing him to a 1-year deal. I thought it was interesting at first, to say the least. But man, I'm loving that trio Philly put together, man. You got AJ Smith, you got Julio. It's gonna be a sight to see for sure, baby.
That's another Alabama Crimson Tide on the roster. But that trio definitely, we're not getting the Julio Jones of the Atlanta Falcons, unfortunately. But for him to be, I'm assuming, your number 3, possibly your number 4, and to use him in red zone packages, we are ranked, I want to say 23rd in red zone efficiency in the NFL. So to have a big body like Julio Jones alongside A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert in the end zone, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, I think that was huge. A little unexpected for sure. I think as soon as the breaking news came about, you and I called each other immediately to discuss. So
I'm excited to see with how well that Philly runs the ball. He is a very good run blocker. So I'm excited to see, how that can all pan out. You got DeAndre Swift. He's still on that top 5 list in rushing yards. So adding another great pass blocker, I think, is going to be even more exciting for Philly out there. But I got one more item of breaking news. Are you ready?
This isn't the Josiah Scott breaking news, is it? Because that's not very entertaining.
No, trust me. No, it's not.
Okay,
But
let's hear the breaking news. Come on, give it to me.
the Eagles have reportedly filed a trademark for the term brotherly shove.
Yes.
The filing was made about a week ago, and they're now going to be able to use it on their apparel. So that'll be interesting. It's not the tush push anymore. We got the brotherly shove.
Which I will say, I do like brotherly shove more. It's very fitting with the city of brotherly love. The tush push was a little easier and quicker to say. But in regards to the brotherly shove, we didn't see the brotherly shove once against the New York Jets. We saw it quite a bit against the Los Angeles Rams, and I'm grateful that we have an offensive line that's able to get low enough and a quarterback that can squat. I don't know, what does he squat? 3, 4? Anyways, the talent that we have to be able to complete that 95% of the time is fantastic. I am one of those that wished we didn't see it as often as we do. I do like some of the branches of this brotherly shove, whether that's faking like we're going in to the offensive lineman, but flicking it out to DeAndre Swift or pulling it back and throwing it. I know Jalen Hurts tried that last week. He ended up tripping on Landon Dickerson's foot, but yeah, we have the talent to do it. So I guess everyone else in the NFL that can't, suck it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. We're that talented. So
No, when you get a dude that can squat that much, it's unstoppable. And I don't know. As much as I want to see it, it might be a good thing that it's kind of going not away, but they're not using it as often because there's not going to be as much speculation on the Philadelphia Eagles with them using the tush push. So, it might be something we don't see all that often.
question right off the bat, what's your gut telling you? Is the brotherly shove going to be legal or illegal next season?
My gut is telling me it'll no longer be around next season. Jason brought up a great point. I don't know if it was an interview, his podcast, whatever it was, but he talked about players are going to fake injuries, um, so that the league will notice that and be like, okay, well, this is a play that too many people are getting injured on, so we need to get rid of it now. So, unfortunately, I do see it going away after this season. So might have to use it as much as we can.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with you. I think it will be an illegal play next season. So all of those whiners will stop whining and we can get back to enjoying the entirety of our games. But
Talking about big games, man, a much anticipated game, not necessarily because of the opponent, but it definitely will be a good game. But much anticipated game. First game coming out, and Philly's gonna be in the Kelly Green jerseys.
I think everyone in Philadelphia and outside of Philadelphia are pretty stoked for the Kelly Green game. We haven't had these jerseys since the Michael Vick era, and they're pretty slick. They're pretty fly. So I'm interested to see what that stadium looks like. It's going to be Kelly Green, I can tell you that much. And I sure hope that Philadelphia returns home to take the dub after, and we'll get to the recap of the Jets game. I'm glad we're recording probably about 2 days removed from that game, because if we were recording that night, we'd probably have to edit and bleep out some
Quite a bit.
language because I was pissed. I was pissed after that game. And anyways, we'll get to the recap. But right now, with it being the Kelly Green week, we wanted to rank our jersey combinations throughout the years, some of our favorites. With I don't know. With that being said, I'll start out. I'm kind of original in a lot of the things that I do and a lot of things that I like, and so for me, I think the number one jersey that I have is Oh man. See, technology. We need a media person. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's start this out. So, for me, I like the original, just green jerseys with the green helmet. I've always been a fan of that jersey. I have Jalen Hurts jersey in that green right now, and I don't know. It just looks good. That's the original color for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I was kind of torn. You can see in the second picture with Jalen Hurts in the number 2 jersey, the green pants and the white jersey. I thought about putting that at 1, but I think ultimately I went back to the green jerseys with the green helmet. And then,
I gotta really quickly before you hit that. I gotta put that as my number two. Sticking with the green, the basic as well. You know, the original. The majority of my jerseys that I own are in that color. My one out of my 50 surplus of shoes that I have are Philly Eagles. They're in that green color too, so they're definitely a good solid looking jersey. And you know that, like, you think of Philly, you know, that's a classic jersey. You know, that green. So I want to put it up top, but I'll get to that here in a sec. But I got to put that as my number two.
okay, so the original Philadelphia Eagles green is number 2 for you, and number 1 for me. My number 2 is the all black with the green helmet. I know a lot of people loved that matte black that we had last year for the first time against Dallas, but I just think the green helmet looks a lot better and complements the all black jerseys. I have a couple all black jerseys, one most recently AJ Brown, and I don't know, it's fire. I love the black look, and this isn't part of my top 3, but I'll show you a picture that just screams, we're out to get you. We're going to dominate this game. But for me, I've got the all black with the green helmet at number 2.
No, it's a good looking uniform, that's for sure. I think I know exactly what picture you're talking about. So we'll check that out, see if we're you know, great minds think alike there. But it's a good uniform. But I have that at my number three.
Whoa. Interesting. I can't wait to see what your number 1 is. Okay, so for me, all black with the green helmet, number 2 on my list. And then for you, all black with the green helmet at number 3 on your list. Number 3, if I can get. Number 3 is the Kelly Green. I This is updated, obviously, from the Michael Vick era. I'm loving the throwback Philadelphia Eagles patch on the shoulder. I'm so excited for the helmets, in all honesty, to complement this jersey and the green, because it's not the same as the Michael Vick era. It's a little bit more solid. So I'm gonna go with this Kelly Green as my number 3, but you know, who knows? That could change when we see them play Miami and how it looks all together.
I know we haven't seen them on the field in an actual game just yet, but this is my top. This is my number one. You know, the old school look, those helmets. I think the helmets are honestly what make it, in my opinion, a top of the leaderboard on jersey combinations. Like,
Now, are the helmets, are they gonna have the white wings?
you know, I'm not exactly sure. I think they will. Either be a white or a lighter like silver, to kind of complement the pants. I don't know.
Mm, yeah,
But no, I, even though they have not played in them, these I just know, you know, it's
you
gonna be,
you just know it's gonna be lit.
it's gonna be a sight to see out on that field. And hey, let me tell you, I cannot wait until we get are Kelly Green jerseys.
Dude, fingers crossed that, so everyone that's listening, we have ordered Kelly Green, Jason Kelsey jerseys. We're hoping that they will be here by game day. My notifications have indicated that it's shipped, and so I really hope that, maybe for our artwork on one of our podcast episodes, we'll be able to post us in the jerseys. But fingers crossed that they get here, because I really want to wear them with either this hat or I have another throwback. So this is number one on Tyler's list of jersey combinations, and then this is number 3 for myself on jersey combinations. And last, we'll go to the picture that I was referring to, and Tyler, had indicated that he thinks he knows what picture, and hopefully I can access it on here. Oh, I don't have it. Gosh dang it. You know what? We'll have to throw it into the editing portion of our podcast. But the picture that we are going to put up, or that you'll see on the screen right now, is Devontae Smith and AJ Brown standing side by side. They're in their all black. They've got their matte black helmets on, and they both have visors. It's like they're looking into your soul, saying, "We're going to take the dub." Like, I saw that picture and I was like, "Kate, I know it's not on my top 3 list of jersey combinations, but the picture in and of itself, I was like, oh my goodness, like, print that off on a poster. I'm going to put it in my man cave, because I am getting a man cave. I've told my wife, when we move to our next house, I want a man cave so I can put up all of my Eagles shrine, and that's one of them."
Dang, I definitely am bummed, because that was not the one I was thinking of. It's still, it's a crazy picture. It goes hard, as those would say nowadays. But the picture I was thinking
And
was,
we'll try and put this up on the screen as you guys are listening to the podcast. We'll do some editing afterwards. But Tyler, what was it?
you got Jake Elliott, you got Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, and Fletcher Cox. You got Cox and Elliott kind of looking at you like this, and then Jason and Lane are just ready, staring at your soul and getting ready to bust that door down and 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 get the dub. I don't know how to explain it.
Was that last season?
Yes, it was. I want to say there was a hype video for Sunday night for it. Again, we'll show all you guys a little picture of that, but that was the one I was thinking of in regards to the jersey combinations. But
Okay. Well, yeah, let's we've got the Miami Dolphins here this week, and to be honest with you, I'm worried. If you guys go back and watch the first episode, my record prediction had us 6-0, obviously beating the Jets, which didn't happen. I can't believe Zach Wilson was able to pull out that win on the Philadelphia Eagles, but props to him. Credit.
if you look at it, he's been doing that to the better quarterbacks in the league right now. He definitely hasn't beaten all of them like he did to Philly on Sunday, but he's outperformed Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. These bigger names. He's played really well.
So I was going to say, I'm glad you brought that up. I had, and shout out to Philadelphia Eagles Central that posted this on their Twitter, but they said that Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes versus the Jets. Josh Allen, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions with a 62.7 quarterback rating. Patrick Mahomes against the Jets, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions with a 63.6 rating. Jalen Hurts, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, same thing. So the Jets defense is doing this to a lot of the elite quarterbacks. And yes, I said it. Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback. People are putting Josh Allen above him, which I do agree with. Josh Allen is above him slightly
At the moment,
at the moment,
not overall.
not overall. And then people are putting Herbert ahead of Jalen Hurts, and it's interesting. It's more of to fit the story that the media wants to provide. If you go off stats, there's a lot of things that Philadelphia has or Jalen Hurts is above other quarterbacks at, but he's not, in the top whatever they wanted to decide. So the Jets defense are doing that to everyone. Now, we give crap. Everyone gives crap to Dak Prescott when he throws an interception, whether it's his fault or whether it's somebody else's fault. It's an interception.
It's the Cowboys. It's okay. It don't matter.
How about them Cowboys? And so you have to give those 3 interceptions to Jalen Hurts. One, in my opinion, was his actual fault.
Agreed. The other 2 were not on him.
Which, to you, did it look like Goddard had that?
Yeah.
And then he fumbled it off his knee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the other interception,
he got hit on the arm, on the throwing arm. You can't.
you
any
can't
quarterback
control
in the league is going to do that same thing.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you there. Only one of those. I mean, yes, they go on his stats. Yes, he has more than his total last year, but
I was going to say his total last year was 6 interceptions and he's got 7.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Anyways, I'm glad you brought that statistic up. But if you want, let's really quick jump over to the injuries. Do you want to briefly touch on those? And so before, I'll let you touch on the ones that occurred during the game. Again, I believe both you and I are for getting rid of turf. A lot of players, a lot of coaches are for getting rid of turf. Before the game even started, the injuries that we had were Jalen Carter with an ankle, Darius Slay with a knee, Justin Evans on IR with a knee, and Sidney Brown with a hamstring. During the game, why don't you hit on those injuries and what occurred during the game?
During the game, the biggest one of all, I mean, they're all bad, but I think the one that had the most impact on Philly and their play after it happened was Lane Johnson and his ankle injury. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was a lateral ankle sprain.
Yeah. Yep.
Which they haven't ruled him out officially, but MRI scans, all that have definitely come back a lot better than I would say people thought.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some better news, but it'll definitely be interesting to see.
Now, I would not be surprised if he played against the Dolphins. I personally don't want him to. I want him to sit out this week, sit out the bye the following week, and be ready for either Washington or Dallas once we return. But you saw him last year. He came back and he had a groin tear. Or no, an adductor tear. And he played all the way through the Super Bowl.
Gotta help you out on that. Heard it. Just wanted to check. We got Dolphins, Washington, Dallas, then the bye. So the bye is not after the.
Why was I?
So, just the only reason why I say that is because my personal opinion in this, rest him against the Dolphins. Rest him against the Commanders. Kind of evaluate him, see how he is against the Cowboys, because I know that is a big game. A lot of bragging rights go into that, but depending on how he is, maybe keep him out that game and then get a bye and then be healthy and back for the Kansas City game. That's personally how I would do it, but that's just me.
Well, now that it has been brought to my attention that the bye week is not after the Miami Dolphins game, which I really thought it was. I don't know what I was thinking. I get worried that we don't have him for Miami. Yes, because if we're going to beat Miami, we have to do it on the offensive side of the ball.
The running game.
The running game. We have to run the ball with DeAndre Swift. We have to utilize our tight end in Dallas Goedert. And Devontae Smith better have a big game. Everyone in the NFL drops passes. That was very uncharacteristic of Devontae Smith coming across the field, wide open, dropping that
the
pass.
ball.
Game could have been different. What if, we lost? End of story. We need to win on the offensive side of the ball. And Jalen Hurts is throwing the most interceptions when pressured. His 3 interceptions against the Jets came from being pressured so much. I want to point out another statistic that, offensive line or defensive line is not the sexy position that everyone wants to highlight, okay? But for Philadelphia, the offensive line is our sexy, magazine cover, Sports Illustrated. They are those type of people. And that's where Howie Roseman invests a lot of his money and draft capital. Understandably so. Lane Johnson hasn't given up a sack since November 22nd of 2020. Okay. Jack Driscoll comes in his absence, and 43.5 pass block grade, which was worst on the Eagles' offensive line. 8 pressures allowed, most on the team. 6 hurries allowed, most on the team. First quarterback hit allowed, tied most on the team. 1 sack allowed, tied most on the team. So if you don't have Lane Johnson for the next 3, especially the Commanders have a good defensive line with Chase Young and Montez Sweat, they can get after you. And then Dallas, Micah Parsons, Mozzie Smith, who was supposed to be better than Jalen Carter, but whatever. I don't know. I think Lane Johnson's going to play, and he's going to play through it because of what's at stake, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did sit him for the long term.
I totally agree with you on that one. There were a few others. You had Bradley Roby with the shoulder injury, which is why they brought in Josiah Scott. Reed Blankenship with, I believe it was a rib injury.
Mm-hmm. On that hit from Lazard.
On that hit, which
that was gnarly. That was a gnarly blow.
And there's a lot of people, I saw a lot on social media talking about that hit, how it shouldn't have been a flag, how it should have been a flag. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into it. The fact that he's hurt tells us all we need to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how he jumps back. That dude is a tough son of a gun. I wouldn't be surprised if he is out there again.
Mm-hmm. Which I hope he is, because the only 2 safeties that we have left people, not, left, is Sidney Brown and Terrell Edmonds. Terrell Edmonds and Sidney Brown. Those are the only safeties we have left.
Yep. And then I believe Eli Ricks as well also got banged up a little bit out there. So I hate turf. Just had a cousin playing a little pickup game of soccer, and the poor kid messed up his knee on
Well,
turf.
I think our aunt said that his cleat got stuck. It got caught, and then when his body blows with the other individual, the other player, he heard the snap, and then the rest is history. Some of these, I mean, the ribs or the shoulder, obviously that's not because of the turf. But you even look at the offensive side of the ball for the Jets. Garrett Wilson was coming up limping because of the turf. So, yeah, the turf definitely needs to be gotten rid of. Like, there's too many injuries, and obviously the Aaron Rodgers torn Achilles started it all, and it has to take a superstar for that conversation to gain speed again. But um, let's really quick. I saw something after this game. Uh, I don't know what have you seen so far this season with the Philadelphia Eagles offense?
I think a lot of people look at their offense, you know, focus a lot on Jake Elliott. If we didn't have him, we wouldn't win these games. Our red zone efficiency not being as high. But isn't it almost the same as last year?
So, visual test, I would tell you no, that it looks so much worse than last year. The fluidity, the team chemistry just seems to be off. The play calling seems to be off. I wanted to keep Shane Steichen last year. I knew that there was a possibility he got a head coaching job, which in the end he did. He's now with the Indianapolis Colts, and he's doing a fantastic job. But Jalen Hurts has not had an offensive coordinator in his offense for his team since his father in high school. Alabama, Oklahoma, Philadelphia, they've had a new offensive coordinator every year. So that has to be challenging. But Brian Johnson was here last year, and it doesn't look the same. And I'm not as hyped. I'm not as confident in Philadelphia's ability to score. But like you said, and I'll point this out because I did find a tweet when you brought that up. Eagles offense through 6 games, and I'm comparing 2022 last season to this season 2023. 22 147 points total to this year's 148 points. 2,367 yards to this year's 2,370 yards. 144 first downs to this year's 143 first downs. 44% on third downs to 51% on third downs. So we're better this year in the third down conversions. 5.6 yards per play to this year's 5.6 yards per play. So it's identical. But to the visual test, to the everyday fan, it doesn't look the same. So what really quick, we can go over some stats from the game, but what were your thoughts on the Jets game?
I when I tried and boil it down to like one word, if I could, was eh.
Mm.
Like I don't know, there wasn't a lot of times where I could, be excited because of a big play or, a big turnover or whatever it was. Like, I was trying to find moments where, I could be, super excited. I'm not saying I'm not like a very excited fan, when it comes to watching the games, but I don't know. It wasn't it was like up, down, just throughout the course of the game. I just couldn't find time to stay happy with what Philadelphia was doing.
Yeah, no, usually so in preparation for these podcasts to have enough material to have the statistics and really dive deep into the game plays such as important blocks to the drive. I take notes. I've got my iPad out. I'm jotting down some things that I hear, and this game I didn't. Like I didn't have anything to write home about, as they say.
You didn't want to write down about Mark Sanchez's comment on Jalen Hurts being a slippery salmon or whatever the heck he said.
Oh yeah, I turned to my wife and I was like, "What the heck's that supposed to mean? Putting Vaseline on a salmon? Like, never heard that before. That's stupid." Like, anyways, no, you could obviously tell that he was a Jets quarterback in the past by the way
I,
he was commenting, but he was a Philadelphia
here's a
quarterback as well.
he didn't he wasn't able to execute the tush push. He fumbled the ball,
Yeah, butt fumbled.
butt fumbled. So yeah, I don't know. That was a weird comment, but
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, nothing to write home about. I mean, we scored 14 points by probably mid second quarter, and that's all we scored the rest of the game. Like,
yeah, you would have wondered if Elliott, if he would have made the field goal, if that would have had any effect on the outcome, the score. But yeah, like Jalen Hurts, it was a controversial call, the leaning forward, scoring. So I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of offensive.
well, and on the defensive side of the ball, you kept losing players to injury. The secondary is depleted, and that's why I'm not very confident going into the Dolphins game because our secondary is so depleted with injury. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are going to have themselves a game. So in order for us to keep it competitive, we've got to be able to score back and forth. And then hopefully our defensive front and Jalen Carter comes back. Hassan Reddick is heating up. He's got 5.5 sacks on the year.
I will say something that I saw um, in the past day or so. Even though he did not have a great start to the season, and I don't know, I didn't watch the Cowboys Chargers game. I don't know how that outcome was. I don't know how many sacks Parsons had. Um, I think one or two. One.
At the very end of the game.
Hassan Reddick has more sacks than Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons. Yes, they played the same amount of games, but I mean the dude had a cast on. He wasn't gonna be, risking it with that cast, trying to be as productive as he could have been. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like you mentioned, he's heating up, and he has surpassed the so-called best pass rushers, which I'll agree, but you got to throw Hassan Reddick up on that tier. He's had the season just started, but last season had an incredible season, and he's continuing to do it now.
Yeah, last season, Hassan Reddick had 16 sacks. Bosa had 18, and Micah, I think, was down in the 12 range. Now, this is where I say the media needs to look at statistics versus just how powerful, or what kind of name that an NFL player has. Because if you're asking me, Hassan Reddick has, well, we'll wait to see the end of this year how many sacks Micah Parsons has, but Hassan Reddick is up there, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves. So,
Hey, It'll be interesting to see real quick before you jump onto your next point in regards to what you just said. But it'll be interesting to see how, if Philly's willing to pay him at the end of this year, with all the other great pass rushers. They're getting some good money, and right now with what he's doing, he should be getting more. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think because Howie Roseman values the defensive line, he will be back. I don't think there's any way that Howie Roseman lets Hassan Reddick walk. But let me go to something really quick, and I'll what I we, for you listeners, we like to keep this around 30 to 45 minutes. I'm not seeing a timer on my screen. Tyler, what do you got?
We got 40 minutes.
We're at 40 minutes. Okay.
Yep.
So really quick.
Yep.
Yep. If anybody can comment on this episode on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter and tell us where yep is from, I'll be very, very impressed.
I'll Venmo you.
Okay, so what pisses me off is the Philadelphia Eagles threw the ball 48 times, I believe, with Jalen Hurts, and they ran the ball 22 times between Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, and DeAndre Swift, which I do like. Brian Johnson had a play where Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell were lined up on the sides of Jalen Hurts. They put Kenneth Gainwell in motion, and then just on a quick, screen slant route, Boston Scott takes it for probably 10, 15 yards. So there was a lot of motion on that drive. So props to Brian Johnson, which I'm going to say a lot of people are calling for Brian Johnson's job. He did not lose that game. The players lost that game. The 4 turnovers lost that game. The not catching the ball lost that game. We cannot put it on coaching every time. Our team looked like flat out trash on Sunday against the Jets. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's rush the ball for 22 attempts when the Jets are ranked 29th in rush defense. You tell me what analytics says and tells you there. Like, I don't understand why we're not rushing the ball when at one point DeAndre Swift was number 2 behind Christian McCaffrey. It doesn't make sense, and I don't understand the offense this year. I really don't.
It's difficult to see because I saw somewhere, and my apologies on not having it for you guys. I can definitely try and look for it, but when they are able to rush the ball more often, they have a better winning record. So why not rush the ball on what you said, 28th, 29th team in the league?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Well, and I want to say, and we'll end on this because I know we're at time. How can we not throw the ball when Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, their starting cornerbacks, are out? How can we not throw the ball? A.J. Brown, 7 receptions, 131 yards. He's, that's 4th or 5th game with 100?
Consecutive, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Devontae Smith was 5 for 44. So, overall, we can't afford to lose games that we should win like this. We would have been 6-0 going into Miami, and this is when our schedule starts to get more difficult. So, any final thoughts before we close out?
No, just excited to see Philly in those throwback Kelly Green jerseys. Hope they have a better game plan It'll be a tough test, especially for our secondary going up against Miami. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to a good game.
Yep, I am as well. Hopefully Philly just shows up to play. That's all I'm asking for. I don't want to blow out. Obviously, I'm hoping for the win, but I just want all three facets of the Philadelphia Eagles working together. And hopefully these Kelly Green jerseys are the beginning of something good as we start the second half of the season.
Yeah, I'll throw it out there. They're going to be our good luck charm. So let's hope for a good game come Sunday. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, we'll leave you guys with one final thought.
EAGLE
Eagles.
Goodbye, y'all.
Thanks, guys.